returns video, and essentially I'm just going to give you guys a golden nugget, and that's with return preferences. Essentially what you want to do is just copy down this URL. And the thing with returns is that when you just start, if a buyer opens up a return, pretty much all of your returns are going to be automatically approved if it's within your returns policy. And of course, we set our returns policy for 30-day returns. So if a customer opts to return within the returns policy within 30 days, then it's going to be automatically approved. And one of the issues that I found was when that it would automatically approve and the returns address would be confirmed as my home address. And of course, I don't want customers sending me any items to my home address. Yes, there are a few times that my first return, and I'd recommend for your first return, just get them to send it back to you, just so you can see the process. You know, get them to send it back to your address, see the process, and then get the returns information from the supplier and send it off back to the supplier. It is long, but you don't want to be doing that because you don't want your house to become a warehouse, your home, wherever you stay. So yeah, essentially you just copy this URL, and it'll take you to this page, and essentially you just scroll down, and this automatically switched off. You want to switch it on, and when you switch it on, it gives you the option to sort of confirm the the returns address, so that way it's not automatically approved to your home address. So for example, if someone previously, before, when this was off, someone would open a return, it will automatically go to my home address automatically, and I'd have to message the buyer and say, hey, please ignore the address, please send to this address, that kind of thing. But it's not confirmed that they'll do that, so you don't want to get a lot of parcels. And I've seen some dropshippers in their address on eBay, in their settings, they put this is not a delivery address, just to let them know. So with your home address, you can do that if you want. You can just put this is not a delivery address, but I think this is much better. So just simply tick this on, then it gives you the option, and then essentially I just add whatever the returns address is for that particular supplier. So this definitely makes everything a lot easier, and yeah, it's an essential, to be honest with you. The first step, I would say, is not to panic. Out of stocks happen. You can't control that. In fact, today, as I was fulfilling my orders, I had 4 out of stocks back to back, just because it's a busy period. So yeah, simply just don't panic, and never tell the buyer it's out of stock. Never tell the buyer that it's a defect on your eBay account. You don't want to tell the buyer it's out of stock, and an out of stock defect's the worst thing that could happen. So step one is to do nothing. Step one, you always want to wait 1 to 2 days before taking an action of the out of stock, especially once you get an understanding of your suppliers. You start to sort of realize, for example, George, if something's out of stock on Monday, by Tuesday it might be back in stock, you know. So it's always good to just wait 1 day and see if it comes back in stock, and then you want to see if you can find the same product. Let's say if you wait 1 to 2 days, it's not back in stock, you want to see if you can find that product elsewhere. To be honest, you want to do that before waiting 1 to 2 days. If you can find it elsewhere, if it's a general product and you can find the exact same product elsewhere. If not, wait the 1 to 2 days, and then this is how you action it out of stock. Yeah, it's very simple. Ignore the solution. Offering a similar product is one of the solutions, and I've never actually used this, but I know some dropshippers who have. Hey, we don't have this one available to send, but we have this one, would you like that one? They'll be like, no, yes. I've never used that one. I don't recommend it, to be honest, because it's, how can you offer a similar product without essentially suggesting it's out of stock? So I won't recommend this one, so I'm not even going to speak about it. That's for you guys to read. Remember, you guys have access to this, and this is my template. And this works for me every time. So literally copy this verbatim, put your name, put whatever name you want. Hi, we're very sorry to tell you this, but the item you have purchased has been reported as defective just as we were getting it ready for shipping. Sometimes, depending on the product, I put specifics. I'll just make up a problem. For example, if it's a wardrobe, I'll be like, the doors weren't closing well. And I always put this as well. And to be honest, I'd reorder this. Let's copy this here. So this one's a good one as well. We've also had previous buyers complain about certain aspects of the quality of this product, or whatever the problem is. Just put in whatever problem it is. As a result, we've had to start the process of getting that investigated. This is important to us as we always want to ensure that what we're sending you is of high quality, especially for a product such as this. As a result, we're in a process of quality control. If you prefer, of course, you're entitled to a full refund, as we are not sure how long the quality control procedures may take. Deepest apologies again for the inconvenience this may have caused. I'm not even gonna say 9 times out of 10. 10 times out of 10, a buyer's gonna be like, okay, please refund me. And because of the way this is worded, we're telling them we've had previous buyers complain. We're telling them what's wrong with it. They're gonna say, hey, and I'm being honest with you guys. Like, I've received buyers that tell me, "Oh, thank you for telling me about these problems." I've even had buyers say, "I hope you overcome those problems. Thanks for letting me know. Could you please refund me?" Like, I've literally never had a failure. That's such that out of stocks aren't even a thing, because after I send this, customers are happy because no customer wants to receive a product that's faulty. So yeah, simply send this to them. They'll reply within 1 to 2 days, and they will say, please refund me. And you simply cancel the order, and you cancel buyer asked to cancel. So there's 3 options when you try to cancel an order. There's cancel because it's out of stock, the one that we never select. There's cancel because the buyer asked to cancel, and there's cancel because of the delivery address. So using the delivery address one is fine. Using the buyer asked to cancel one's fine. But because we've asked them if they'd like a refund and they say yes, buyer asked to cancel. If there's a problem with your delivery address, you can put that as the reason. But yeah, that's it. So sometimes you'll send this, just to cover something else, sometimes you'll send this to the buyer and they simply won't reply. Some of them just don't check their eBay messages. So I've sent it to many buyers that haven't replied. Not many, it's definitely the minority, but there's a few buyers that just haven't seen it, haven't replied. And with that, after the dispatch date has gone, I'd simply just cancel it, buyer asked to cancel. And usually they're not going to be upset that you've cancelled it, because they're going to see the message that you sent beforehand whenever they check their eBay account again. So they'll understand what's happened. So yeah, that's it. It's very simple, nothing to worry about. And yeah, that's the strategy that I recommend, and the strategy I use all the time. Well, if you get an item not received case and there's tracking, and the tracking shows that it's been delivered, you've got nothing to worry about. But if there is no tracking, you're going to lose the case, most definitely, because tracking is what helps you prove that it's been delivered. So I've lost item not received cases where there was no tracking, and as explained in the tracking video, why there was no tracking is explained there. But yeah, so an item not received case, I think a buyer has to wait, is it 7 days? At least 7 days after the scheduled delivery time before they can open one up. And some buyers are lying and are fraudulent, but people try to get away with what they can. But yeah, that's why it's extremely important that you arm yourself with using suppliers who have good tracking, and that way you protect yourself. So and another thing with item not received cases, so this is why you've got to be careful if a buyer asks requests for you to send it to another address, because let's say, because sometimes they can say they didn't receive the item, and that's because you changed the address, and therefore you're no longer protected. So you'll lose the case on PayPal, but you might win it on eBay. I know a lot of people will be asking this question. So let's say I'm using a supplier, I get a sale on a dollhouse, I fulfill the order. A couple of days later, what usually happens is that the supplier would send you the tracking information, or they'll let you know it's been dispatched. What you then do is you then take that tracking number and then you add it onto eBay, and that's that. Then you don't really have to worry about it. If something's wrong, the customer will tell you, but it's definitely not time efficient to be checking up on every single order that you make and checking the tracking. This video is really, do you need a tracking number? Do you always need to put it in? And the answer is no. the only reason that really we want to put tracking numbers in is it looks good for account health from the eBay side. Um, and of course, it protects you. Tracking protects you in case the buyer claims that they didn't receive the item. So I um, I sometimes dispatch items and never add tracking numbers, mainly because it's one's not provided. For example, using Argos, um, they don't provide tracking numbers. Their tracking numbers are not compatible with eBay, same as Amazon. So when I used to dropship using Amazon or Argos, there would be no tracking numbers. So you put yourself at risk when you do this. And I have lost money because people claim they didn't receive items and there's just no way to prove it. So you're going to lose any item not received case. So I definitely just suggest, but there's sometimes, for example, when I do eBay to eBay dropshipping, by that I mean my supplier is eBay, because you can use eBay as a supplier as well. In that case, you can't add any tracking numbers because it's already associated with another tracking number on the platform. But you know there is a tracking number, so there's nothing to worry about with that side. But you don't need to add tracking numbers every single time. I don't add tracking numbers every single order. Sometimes I just get a notification that's been dispatched and just dispatch it and move on. But that being said, try and use supplies that do have tracking numbers because it looks good for account health and it protects you. A buyer asked to cancel. This one again, simple. Some buyers will message you and say, "Hey, sorry, please can you cancel this? It was a mistake. I don't want it anymore." Whatever the reason is, they want to cancel. And usually they apologize when they request to cancel. And of course, this one's simple. So if you haven't fulfilled the order, great, nice and simple. You can just cancel. Buyer asked to cancel. Refunds processed. But there are circumstances, and this will happen, that a buyer asks to cancel after you've already processed the order with your supplier. So what you should do is you receive the cancellation request from your buyer. Do not respond to them. Simply contact your supplier and see if you can get it cancelled. So you can do that all in the space of 15 minutes. So let's say I fulfilled an order last night. In the morning, I see a request to cancel. I read it, I acknowledge it, I immediately contact the supplier and see if I can cancel it. And if they can cancel it, great. I go back and tell the buyer it's been cancelled. If they can't cancel it, then I tell the buyer this. So essentially, if they can't cancel it, it's usually because it's already been processed, or what if the supplier can't cancel once orders are in process, then they can't do anything, or whatever the reason is. Simply just tell the buyer, "Hey, unfortunately, do not send them a refund." That's just you don't want to send a refund until you have been guaranteed your money back. So simply just tell the buyer, "Hey, unfortunately, we are unable to cancel this item as processing has already commenced. What we'd recommend is for you to refuse the order at the door and opt to return to sender. That way, that can expedite your returns process, and we can issue you a refund. Please let us know once you've refused it at the door. That way, that will help in receiving your refund faster." And so, yeah, it's a bit frustrating because I actually hate when it gets to that stage where I've told them to refuse it at the door. It does take quite a while to get back to the warehouse, but you want to ensure that you are just maintaining top customer service, and you want to refund them as soon as possible, because you don't want to keep your customers waiting. In fact, that's one of the reasons for one of the negative feedbacks on my stores, because I was abroad and I kept a customer waiting for their refund far too long. Next thing you know, they opened the case and I wasn't even aware, because yeah, I was just having a good time in a different country. But yeah, so that's what you do. Just stay on top of it.